Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Andisa, and thank you for the invitation to share with you the work that we are doing at the South African Weather Service. As mentioned by Peter, we are an entity of the South African government, and we report to the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. And our role is to provide weather and climate early warnings. And the idea is that by providing these, we can limit the loss of life as well as damage to property. In 2013, our mandate was extended to also include air quality. I will not speak much on the air quality work that we are doing, but Peter in his presentation kind of covered the SACI's work that the South African Weather Service is doing. And we know that as South Africa, we're exposed to a number of extremes. The images that you see there on the left are what has been observed. Those were just coming from our news reporters showing you flooding, showing you damage due to tornadoes, and we won't forget the people lining up in Cape Town because of the drought that happened there. And so it's important that we have early warnings to try and reduce the impact associated with such events. At SOURCE, we've got what we call a seamless system, and by that we mean we look at different time scales from what we call nowcasting, which is really what is happening right now, up to about 2 hours. We've got short range products. By short range, so these are according to the definitions of the World Meteorological Organization. Short range is up to about 3 days. We've got medium range going up to 14 days. Seasonal forecasts looking at 3-month means, and we also have multi-decadal products. So I'll try to take you through some of these that we have. I'll speak very briefly on each of these on account of time. So on the nowcasting side, we consider radar as our important tool. We also have a number of different, we've got the S-bands that are shown there with a red line. So that's the area they are covering. We've got C-bands that are shown with a black line, and we also have mobile X-bands. We've got two X-bands at SOURCE. And with radar, we are able to take, a 3-dimensional view of what's happening in the atmosphere. And that means we can track what is happening with the thunderstorms. I'm showing you an image down there with a black background, and that is showing you where thunderstorms were taking place. And with the cyan color, that is where the thunderstorm is. And with the red color, we can be able to show where the thunderstorm is going to move. And that is information that our forecasters use to warn the public when there's a thunderstorm that is approaching their area. From radar information, we can also make some estimations to determine if there is hail within the thunderstorms. And, with the warnings that are coming from the forecasting office, we do also give an indication of whether there is hail in the storm that is approaching. And from satellite also, we can get quantitative precipitation estimates. And this is information that we use in some of our other products, including the flash flood guidance. We also monitor lightning as it's occurring. We've got 24 sensors across the whole of South Africa. And we use the Swaziland one being the 25th sensor that we are relying on. And we are able to say near real time where lightning is occurring. So this network was deployed in 2006. And so using this network, we can already look at the climatology of where we are getting most of our lightning. And you can see that we get most of it there just, in Mpumalanga as well as in KwaZulu-Natal. That is where we get most of the lightning in South Africa. So the information is near real time, and we can provide information to different sectors who are interested. We can tell them when there's lightning that is approaching their area. We also rely on satellite information in our case because we are interested mostly in the thunderstorms. So we rely on a geostationary satellite because it provides higher temporal resolution. In this case, for now, we are using Meteosat 2nd generation, and we know it's going to be replaced soon with Meteosat 3rd generation. We use the nowcasting satellite application facility, which provides us with a number of products. One of the products is called the Rapidly Developing Thunderstorms From the nowcasting SAF, we can also get some quantitative precipitation estimates, which we also use to provide products for the rest for parts of Southern Africa. As source, we are a WMO recognized regional specialized meteorological center, and that means we also have some responsibilities within the SADC region. And as you can see, the product that I'm showing there, which is called the rapidly developing thunderstorms, we also have it available for the SADC region, and Met services across the region can look at this information and be able to provide warnings in their countries. I won't speak much, I won't list each of what we have here, but by just looking at this image there, you can see that SAWS has invested quite a lot in the observation network across the whole of South Africa. We've got, rainfall stations. We are detecting air quality, as mentioned by Peter. We are measuring solar radiation. We've got a number of, weather stations that we use to monitor, and this information is also important for us to be able to provide better forecasts. When it comes to forecasting, similar to other Met services, we rely on models, and we know these models are the ones that are able to give us a lead time beyond 2 hours. So without models, we won't be able to provide such a lead time. And at SAWS, we've got a Cray high-performance computer system. The processors on this system are based on the Intel Ivy Bridge, so you can tell that it's an old system, and we are hoping to replace it soon. Dr. Stoll in his presentation mentioned that we are using the CHPC cluster as our failover. So when we experience some difficulty with our Cray system, we are able to run on the CHPC system so that we continue to meet our operational obligations. We are running the unified model, which is our main model, and we make multiple updates throughout the day. And this is information that our forecasters are using over the whole of SADC. We are running the unified model with a grid length of 4.4 kilometers, and over South Africa, we use 1.5 kilometers. Modeling, so when we are forecasting, we use models, and they are not perfect, and there's some uncertainty that is associated with output that's coming out of these models. So we also use ensembles. From the model that we are running, we make multiple simulations so that we can get the uncertainty that is associated with the different systems that we are predicting. We also download model output from other centers. For example, from DWD in Germany, from the UK Met Office, their global atmosphere model, also from the global forecast system in the US, and we combine that information to provide better information to our forecasters, so that when they see an extreme event coming up and they see it's coming up with a higher probability according to the different ensemble members, they know that they can issue warning with confidence. We also produce seasonal forecasts. The South African Weather Service is one of the global producing centers of long-range forecasts. We run a global model. It's the ECAM 4.5, which is coupled with an ocean model called MOM. And we run this model on our HPC system that I have already shown. And we update our forecast every once a month. And the images I'm showing there just showing that is our latest forecast, showing that we're expecting above normal rainfall as well as above normal minimum temperatures. And that is based on the model that we are running locally, and we also use the CCSM4 as well as GFDL. These are both American models, and we want to extend that multi-model ensemble system by adding more models to it. We are also doing some predictability studies. For example, with the Cape Town drought that I mentioned, our models didn't do that well in predicting it. So we are doing some studies to try and see if we can't improve on our predictability. We've got a lot of observations, as I've already shown, and using our observations, we are also looking at how climate change is occurring over South Africa, and we are seeing that the temperatures are increasing with rainfall. The picture is kind of different depending on where you are looking, but then when it comes to the intensity of rainfall, our observations are indicating that the intensity of rainfall is increasing over South Africa. We also do climate change projections. The images that I'm showing there are based on Codex data. So with Codex, it's really a number of institutions that make dynamical downscaling for Africa. So we have downloaded that data and then, produced some projections for South Africa based on these, looking at rainfall, and we consider different scenarios. In this case, we had looked at RCP 4.5, which is when there is, mitigation, and RCP 8.5, which we consider as business as usual, where there isn't much mitigation. Source is also moving from, saying that this is what the weather is going to be. We're expecting this much rainfall, but to providing impact-based forecasting, because, that is, an important part. If you've got a heavy, rainfall event that is happening over an area that is not that occupied compared to a heavy rainfall event over an urban area, the impacts will be different. So we have that system. We have started producing impact-based forecasts. If you've watched your TV, especially when Eloise was happening, the warnings that you would have seen from source would have appeared as red. So you would see these different colors that speak to the likelihood of the event occurring, as well as the impact that it is likely to have. Then it's also important that we reach, we produce warnings, and it's important that people respond to these warnings. We did a study in 2016, 2017, and found that only 30 community radio stations in South Africa were receiving information from us. So we reached out to more community radio stations, to the extent that by the end of the 2018-2019 financial year, we had 140 community radio stations that were receiving information from us. So as source, we would like to reach more South Africans with the warnings that we are producing. I should also mention here that we've got a Weather Smart app that also shows, as thunderstorms are occurring, if there's a thunderstorm that is coming in your direction, our weather app is able to provide that information. We have a team of applications scientists that are working to develop products for different sectors. So that we've got products for the agriculture, energy, health, as well as the hydrology sectors. And we also conduct socioeconomic studies to determine our value as source. We conduct surveys, we go out and we ask people in different sectors, or just the community in general, if they are receiving our information, if they are finding it useful. And we use that information to also inform the products that we develop. So to conclude, we've got a number of products that we have: weather, climate, air quality, as well as, for applications. And it's important that our full value chain actually works well, from the observations, the models, the forecasts that, produce the information that we send out there, as well as dissemination. If we provide, the warnings and the people that are supposed to respond don't get them, then those early warnings do not help at all. So it's important that we continue to do some research and innovate across this whole value chain so that we can improve the information that's going out. Then I thought I should also mention that the models that I've mentioned that we are using were all developed, either in the US or in Europe. And as the South African Weather Service, we are working with some of the universities so that we can develop our own model. And the hope is that a model that's developed here at home will do better when it comes to forecasting our own, our systems here in Africa. Thank you.